Hi guys, I'm Shmi. Hello, good evening to you. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the Volkswagen preview night ahead of the 2018 Geneva Motorshow. Now we have quite a few very cool things to take a look at inside this hall that I'm currently in, like the Lamborghini Terzo Millennio, this crazy all-electric hypercar concept that's behind me. We can also check out the new Italdesign Zerouno Duerta, as well as quite a few other things from the Volkswagen Group companies. So we're surrounded in here by everything. Let's take a look around and see what's launched this year. This then, where we're starting, is the Lamborghini Terzo Millennio. Now it's the first time I've seen this car, but I've seen pictures of it before, and I expected that in person it was going to look crazy, and believe me, it is absolutely out of this world. I mean, quite literally, this is Lamborghini's vision into the future. Them thinking and creating this concept of what a full electric hypercar might look like in the future. So as well as the powertrain side of things, it's also the design, the craziness of the aerodynamics that you can see at work around the car that we'll explore in a second, but basically looking into where things might go in this world of super sports cars that we know and love. Lamborghini, of course, have become pretty synonymous with some fairly crazy cars in recent years. Projects like the Reventon, Veneno, Aventador J and the like. But this, the Terzo Millennio, I think is pretty much the icing on the cake. As you take a walk, we take a walk around here and just look at it. Let me come down to the side and look at how open this entire thing is. It's almost a skin wrapped around the tightest possible parts of the car to fit around where the electric propulsion system would indeed be. And check out through the back here how you can basically see almost everything that surrounds where perhaps the central components would be. Battery technology allowing the weight to be kept very low. This completely flat lower floor. This is just absolutely absurd in terms of design and I suppose what it represents. And I think it's actually quite exciting for the future and where things might be going with this kind of thing. You've got all sorts of little traditional Lamborghini style touches, fighter jet style inspirations, the illumination through the back. They're almost signature Y style shapes that you see around the car that are familiar from other Lamborghini models. For example, down here at the front, those lights right there. Track setup, of course, with this towing eye at the front and this very, very low front splitter coming down towards the front. In fact, if we come right down here, we have ALA, just like the Huracan, Aerodynamica Lamborghini Attiva, presumably active moving parts that enable it to cut through the air a little bit more cleanly. And what do we have here? Terzo Millennio, attenzione. I think it's telling us high voltage electric after all. So this car is indeed incredibly crazy. Let's head to something with a petrol engine just behind it. This then is the Italdesign Zerouno Duerta. It is the open-top version of the Italdesign Zerouno that we saw launched here last year, their first project in the newly created brand under the Volkswagen umbrella, or the resurrection, I should say, of the legendary name of Italdesign themselves. So they made 5 of the coupes. Now though, it is an open-top version of the car, and to be honest, I think this looks incredible. The way the roof section is finished is a really, really beautiful design. It's very, very smart, and this paint color, this satin blue, is stunning. Now this car, the Zerouno Duerta, is based on a platform sharing setup within the Volkswagen Group with the Audi R8, so it has a 5.2 litre naturally aspirated V10, 610 horsepower, but it's much more focused on the design and the impressive looks of the car as you explore it around here. Take a look at those exhaust pipes at the back, and I was actually lucky enough to run up the Goodwood Festival of Speed hill climb in the red coupe, and it was an awesome experience. The engine sound, just something very, very special, but this is a radical design. It's completely crazy. It's designed to be unique, different, stand out there, and a special project. And I think you can tell it really is very much that as we come around it and just take it in a little bit more. Even to the interior, the finish, the custom carbon fiber dashboard areas that you're looking at, the configuration of the digital display as well, and all of the controls and commands. And this carbon central console is very, very nice as well. The trim, the finishing. I really like the way this setup around the back works, behind where the roof panel will be lifted away from. So Duerta is the local dialect in the Piemontese region, so that is named, that means convertible open rather than aperta, the full Italian. But just exploring as well, the satin gold wheels go very nicely against the paintwork on the blue here, finished with carbon fiber parts as well. But it's very, very open movement. For example, I can put my hands right down behind the light. It's all airflow through the car, and just being quite a unique and standout design. It doesn't want to be just the same as anything else or the next thing. They've tried to create something that is out there, and you won't be too surprised to hear that the designer responsible for this vehicle formerly worked with Lamborghini, given that they're part of the same group. So it's very interesting to see these two cars, this one and the Terzo Millennio, with a big crowd around it right now, that are very, very different in terms of their ethos, because this is now, that's the potential of the future. This is obviously highly, highly limited, very special car, and it carries a price tag to match with that, but little touches like the racing latches on the front bonnet as well to lift up that clamp. There are minimal parts and components around the car. I like those carbon fins that you have down on the side as well, which make it very, very nice. Anyway, that is the Zerouno Duerta. Next up, we have a Bentley Ben Tiger. Now, you might be familiar with the car because just last week I drove the new bi-turbo V8 version of the Ben Tiger, Bentley's luxury SUV. Well, that was the third in the line alongside the W12 engine and also the diesel variant. Well, we now have a hybrid. So this is based on a similar platform and setup to the Porsche Panamera 4. So it has a 3-litre turbocharged V6 alongside the electric motors, which will actually give it 31 miles of pure electric range. It could be charged up off a normal home power plug in just 2.5 hours. So it will make circa 430, 440 horsepower, that kind of region, and be the most efficient Ben Tiger of them all. And you have to remember, the car is quite a heavy car, over 2 tons or so in weight, but finished here in quite a nice paint scheme with the dual tone, the silver across the bonnet and the darker red sections around the cut side of the car as well. But I've been lucky enough to drive them a few times. I've enjoyed it an awful lot, really, in its class. It's just something very special, and it's quite fun to present it here alongside the fact that it can be charged up as well as running on the petrol motors. And in fact, you can actually turn it fully into just using the combustion engine and disable all of the additional hybrid technology. But nice new hybrid badge. Actually thought it was almost illuminated for a second, the way it's positioned and shaped. Come round to the side, just catch a last little glimpse. It's incredibly luxurious inside the Ben Tiger, as we've seen, but you'll have to check out that video if you'd like to see more of what Bentley's SUV is like. In the Porsche corner, where I had been wishful that we might see the GT3 RS, we have something that's not all too shabby, the 919 Le Mans car. Of course, victorious 3 years in a row, a hat-trick of Le Mans victories. Very special thing, a very successful thing, and it's been a big era for Porsche Motorsport. I suppose this is again a demonstration of hybrid electrical technology and what might become in the future, because this program is all about creating technology that can eventually move its way over towards road cars and become something that features in normal vehicles that you and I can drive out on the roads. Things like this, the 918 Spyder again is part of that, and the move towards Porsche's all-electric cars in the future. So things like the Mission E, and now potentially an all-electric SUV that we're going to be seeing from them, potentially even tomorrow. So always nice to see that, a very, very special thing. This is the big car of the night for the Volkswagen Group, and I've just noticed that one Magnus Walker is currently sat inside it, which is quite fun. But this is called the I.D. Vision, and I'm going to point my camera up there. The I.D. Vizzion, which is an interesting spelling, but I.D. of course is Volkswagen electric vehicles. So this, the Vision, represents their future take on a full electric luxury vehicle. So with the recent phasing out of the Phaeton, this is where things for Volkswagen might go in terms of electric, autonomous. There are no controls in here. You'll notice that it is completely empty. We'll swing around and have a quick look in a second. But it's basically level 5 autonomous driving. Features a number of bits of crazy technology and what that can mean, where it could go. But let me just swing around and show you inside. Take a look at this then, with the doors open, the 4-seat setup that this car has. But the idea basically is that you would have, via holograms, the interface for the car, for driving, for controlling it if you should wish to. But of course, this is a world with autonomous, with the car controlling and doing the work for you. But just looking around, it is actually quite fascinating to think that we might have vehicles like this that look like a piece of furniture almost, rather than what we're more familiar with in the current era. No steering wheel, no pedals, no inputs in the more traditional sense, just the future and direction of where these things are going. going. Oh, crazy, crazy. Awesome to see though. It'll be very interesting to watch this story and see how this kind of things develop in the future. We've been looking further into the future, but this is right now. This is the Volkswagen Moja. It's their idea of social movement using a bus, well, similar to a traditional bus, but the minibus that will pick up passengers, drop them off exactly at their location. But effectively, if everybody used shared services such as this, there would be a massive reduction in the amount of traffic out on the roads, the amount of congestion effectively as a result of that. And you can see how this is set up for that way, to have a screen to let passengers know when they've reached their stop, luggage space where required, but using the minibus that they have for that purpose. I'd say for a minibus it's kind of cool, but I'm not entirely sure that that idea is going to completely catch on. People like their own vehicles, they like to be in control, and they like to not necessarily share. I've been looking forward to getting round to showing you this one, and I think for some this might even be the highlight car of the entire evening. This is the Seat Cupra E-Racer. It marks a complete relaunch of the Seat Cupra brand, even wearing a new badge there on the front. But wait until I tell you some of the numbers behind this all-electric race car. It's the first all-electric touring car class race car. It has a peak of 670 horsepower. It can maintain 402, but all the way up to nearly 700 horsepower in an all-electric instant power and torque vehicle. That must be something absolutely crazy to go racing. And you look at it, look at the design of this huge rear wing sticking out of the glass at the back on the race car. They've gone a bit radical with the craziness of this, but it stands out in a very, very good way. The design, maybe some of these cues and stylings around the car find their way into normal road cars to go forwards. Let's have a quick glimpse as well inside the car here, where naturally, given it's a race car, it is all carbon, roll cage, a single seat, and some digital displays showing various bits of information as well that you can have showing up on there. But this is, back there, the land of batteries and electric motors and all of that you need, keeping weight quite low, obviously round in the back. But this is, well, a new style of the future of racing. We have Formula E, we have the Seat Cupra E-Racer as well on this front. So I think there are going to be more and more series opening up in that respect, more options for different cars that people can drive. But that is probably an awful lot of fun. This is from Skoda, and it's the Vision X concept. So the idea behind this is that it's a natural gas hybrid. So you'll have permanent front-wheel drive, permanent power towards the front axle, with the additional support of the hybrid system providing instant traction to the rear wheels, making it four-wheel drive in the short term. Now Skoda, very big in the small compact SUV market, so design styling cues from this car might make their way into future models, and most likely this will become something on the roads in the not too distant future. One thing that's quite fun though is the lack of easily accessible door handles. I'm not quite sure how they work. As you look inside, very, very futuristic. In fact, I'm going to come round to the other side. The illuminated grille is quite a bit of fun, and the split light design as well. We come around here and just glance at the interior, which is very, very digital, very, very future. The colour accents are all quite smart inside this as well, the way they're integrated and designed. So this is officially a concept for now. Touch panel control there for the lights, which is quite fun as well. But it'll be interesting, I guess, again to see where that goes and what the future will be with that car. Then finally here, inside this box, is the Audi E-Tron. So this is a car going into production, Audi's first electric SUV. So we can't see too much of it. There are actually these amusing bubbles over these windows with lots of nose prints where people have clearly tried to lean in a little bit far, but we can sneak a little bit of glimpse through here. Actually, their camo is really cool because it actually reads E-Tron. I'm not sure if you can quite make that out. I've just noticed that as I'm looking at it here. But we can see a bit of this. It's hopefully going to be launching in the very near future, and then we'll be able to see more of it out and about and learn about the E-Tron. It's of course a big brand in the future of Audi and where they are going. To conclude then, it's certainly been very special for me to see the Terzo Millennio, but there is plenty more from the Volkswagen Group to come at this show, from Lamborghini and from Porsche, so make sure you stay tuned to see what those cars are going to be, and I'll be sure sure to bring you a video of them, a first look as soon as I can. But quite clearly for this group, electrification is the future. It'll be very, very intriguing to see what happens down the line and where this entire industry goes in terms of autonomous driving, in terms of vehicle sharing and movement in the future as well. Anyway, that's it for this time. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this look, a first opportunity to see some of these new products from the VAG Group. Anyway, thank you again, and I'll catch up with you guys again very soon. Cheers!